Hi, my name is Reina, and this is Chow and Tell. I have a little confession to make today, which is that I hate days, Hallmark days where they make you celebrate this one thing on this one day and buy the card and get the gifts, Valentine's Day and Mother's Day and Father's Day and Teacher's Day and Kids Day. I don't even know, Dog Day and Cat Day and death and funerals and anniversaries and birthdays, and because I think every day should be a celebration anyways, and I wish I could do all of those things every single day. But that confession aside, I have to say I actually really got excited recently to find out about a day, which was not Hallmark sponsored, by the way, which was a good, that really helped. But this is Food Day. And of course, it's an issue that's really close to my heart, so there's a little added incentive for me to get excited about it. But Food Day is a nationwide celebration of food in all its forms. And it takes place all across the United States. Every single state has marked this particular day as Food Day. And this year it happens on October 24th, which happens to be tomorrow, because this is Thursday night Chow and Tell. And to tell us about Food Day and everything that it entails, I have a very, very special guest in the studio. Please welcome from the United States Department of Agriculture, my wonderful, dear, and super exuberant friend, ROSE ARRUDA. Welcome to the studio, Rose.
Thank you for having me here.
It's great to have you.
Very exciting day.
Yeah, we met a few months ago, I think, in the early stages of Food Day planning.
Yeah.
At the Cambridge meet, and right away I was like, Rose has got to be on the show.
Absolutely.
Love your energy and enthusiasm. And tell us a little bit about what you do with the USDA.
Well, actually, it's the Massachusetts Department of Agriculture. My friend said, when I first got this job, my friend said, wow, you work for the feds now? And I'm like, no. I probably for the first year I had to explain, but the Massachusetts actually has a Department of Agriculture.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic place. I work right now currently as the Urban Farming Coordinator. It's a program that began less than a year ago, but I've been working at the department for about a year and a half before this program really developed.
Oh, wow.
So now I do that. That's my main job, I say. Yeah, so that's my main job. And Food Day it started off as a side project, but now it's really, you saw at the meeting, it's just a monster.
Yeah.
And it happens all over the state, so I have to bounce around the state and really manage that project.
Yeah,
so that's kind of my side job.
Wow, it's a lot to do, though. I mean, there's so much going on.
Absolutely.
But this is a nationwide thing, right?
Yes,
so where did it start?
In D.C., Center for Science in the Public Interest. It's a program under their umbrella. And about 4 years ago, the food campaign kicked off. They actually came to Boston a month and a half before Food Day, before anybody really knew about it. And they said, hey, would you be interested in taking part in this, to our commissioner back then. And I asked about, do you have a state coordinator? I'll just plug in with them. I'll coordinate our event. And they did it, and said, okay, now you're the state coordinator. So that's where I got to learn about Food Day, where it actually happened in 50 states for the first year. And in that first year, Massachusetts had about 110 activities. And last year, the third year, we had 640 activities. So not only did it grow here, it grew around the country. That first year, they had about 2,000 events. This year, right now, we're up to about 8,000 events around the country.
That's
that
incredible.
Are registered. Yeah.
And I do remember you saying at that planning meeting that I was at, where I met you, that Massachusetts was way up high on top of the number of activities that happen around Food Day, even though Massachusetts is a relatively tiny state in terms of geography.
Right.
I think it was California, which is giant.
Yes.
And then
see, I think there's a big difference there. Yeah.
So on a per capita, per square foot kind
We're
of
still number
level.
one.
We're still number one.
That's right.
Massachusetts is number one.
Yeah, 2012 we were number one. Then California caught up. Yeah, I think the Oakland school system started participating, and then there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely number one. I mean, our organizers are number one. The residents are number one, because you can't take away from the firepower between those folks and those, the members of that community when they have to come together and pull together over 600 events and activities.
So what are some of the kind of events that you've seen in the past, or that's coming up this year? And we'll switch and show the website in a little bit.
Sure. But, there's a general theme that happens. So there's a good chunk of that are public schools. This year, I believe we have over 400 public schools, and they were private, but I know about the public schools that are registered to take the Eat Real Challenge.
Oh, wow.
And there's so many ways that schools participate in that. There are panel discussions, there are taste tests, there are cooking demos.
Wow.
There are farm tours, there's farmer market festivals. There's great events happening in Cambridge, great events happening in Boston and Somerville, all around. You name it, people are doing it. Anything to promote and celebrate healthy food access, but also to the other side of that coin, events that challenge what's happening regarding food access and food justice.
So there's definitely an activism.
Yes.
Oh, that was why I actually got excited about it also.
Absolutely.
So this is really bringing awareness to our current state of food access, of nutrition, of healthy eating, and looking forward to, what we can do better in the future.
Right. And the main thing about it is the community building. Yeah. That is key. I mean, it's the only reason why I go sleepless at night sometimes in September and October leading up to it, because I love the fact that people get it. That Food Day is every day, but this is a nice anchor day to really, bring your attention and energy together. But after Food Day, after October 24th, where do we go from there?
Right.
Where do we go with the issues that have been raised, with the community and networking that we've just built? How do we sustain that momentum? Yeah. And that's the piece that I love the best.
So what are the kind of things that, for example, came out of Food Day last year? Are there some...
I have a couple of things that came out that just I get verklempt when I hear these stories. We had this student group from a local charter school. I think it was from Codman, the Codman Square Charter School. They came to Urban Farm, City Growers in Dorchester, and it was organized by the Move. That I think they were based in Cambridge. And what they do is they coordinate urban schools, urban children to go to a farm and to see what it's like to from A to Z for a farmer. Like, what does it take to put that food on your plate? What's the real story? Yeah. And then they break bread after a half day of working the farm with the farmer.
So these are the kids in the farm.
Oh, yes.
Right, with their hands in the dirt.
They were squealing when they found worms. They were weeding, it was
And these are kids
amazing.
that probably haven't really had that connection with where their food comes from. Maybe perhaps they see it already prepared in a box. Things are shrink wrapped or in styrofoam, and there's no real connect.
And when you say compost, they think it's shorthand for composition. No, compost. We're going to talk about compost today. Yeah. So what I found out afterwards was that the kids, those city kids who had just wanted nothing to do with weeding and such, started a garden club.
At their school?
At their school.
Oh, really?
And then started organizing around having, more locally raised food, fresh produce on their school menu.
And this is the kids driving this?
Yes. That's what was
Awesome.
amazing. Oh my gosh.
I have goosebumps,
right?
This is so nerdy.
It's not.
I love it.
Right?
Yeah, because I think when it starts early like that, when there's an emotional connect, and when they have this sort of moment of turning around and opening their eyes and being like, this is my connection to food, and this is what eventually is nourishing me, and this is where it comes from, and getting your hands in the ground.
Absolutely.
I'm a city girl myself. I grew up in Bombay City, in India, and it's, we don't see it day to day, but we had farmers markets, which are much less, nicely organized as this, but you have trucks coming in from the morning. and you get dirt on your carrots,
Right.
you know, and there was still some idea of where things came from.
Right, connecting the dots. You know, one event I went to in Worcester, it was so amazing. The Worcester Kindergarten Initiative, where they make sure that the children understand what it is to put their hands in the dirt, where their food comes from. I was there on a tour where these kindergartners pulled out carrots that they had planted as seedlings.
Oh, wow.
Took out the carrots from the ground, and first of all was shocked. They were like, "Oh my God, my food was in dirt." and they harvested the vegetables from their garden. They brought it in. The teachers washed it, and then they made a salad, and then the children ate it. Okay. Their lives are changed forever. There's no going back. When you want orange snacks, I want a carrot, not Cheetos.
Wow.
Okay?
See, that's amazing. That's really...
Yeah, those are some of the little snippets that happen across the state.
Yeah.
In hundreds and hundreds of activities.
So that's a really good reason. I would convert from my hatred of days to definitely this was something I jumped right on it. I was like, there's got to be something really great in it, and it's not about selling you crap that you don't need. It's this is not even this is like bringing really, I think, very basic values to the table, literally to the table. You know, when you talk about farm to fork, or healthier eating, or access to food. In fact, I think it was through you, and I've been in touch with somebody from the SNAP Coalition.
Okay, good.
I'm hoping to bring her on the show at some point, which is talking about how people with limited access to money or other kinds of funds, you know, are now being encouraged through food stamp programs to have access to healthier produce instead of, you know, like more nutritionally rich foods rather than prepackaged, super processed stuff that's just gonna kind of fill their bellies but not fill their, like, not nourish them in the right way.
You know, you just reminded me of another story. I was speaking about prepackaged. One of these regional meetings, like the one you attended, I did one in Lowell, and last year there was someone who raised a hand from a food pantry and said, you know what, one of the problems that we have is we don't have a lack of produce in our pantry. We have farmers that bring these great vegetables, but they just sit there. And then another person from another pantry in a local town said, you know what, we used to have the same problem. And what we decided to do was to bring in a chef, and to do a cooking demo with the customers of our food pantry. And then created a packet of 10 basic recipes for the food that farmers would be typically bringing into this pantry, and then packed bags with the recipes in the bags. Don't you know that after a few weeks, all the vegetables started disappearing?
Oh, wow.
Because the problem that, you know, with folks taking that packaged food was that they didn't have the skills.
They didn't know what to do with it.
We have a generation of people that do not know how to cook. Okay?
That's where I come in.
No, see, it's not true.
Not me. But I help people do that. That's what I do.
Good.
To make cooking fun and easy and accessible, you know, discovering new vegetables or techniques to cook
want to make
them.
sure.
Oh, no. I'm like the food salvage freak. I'm like, don't waste it. We can cook it and we can eat it, and it can be amazing. So that's really great to hear. And then identifying where the problem sources are. Like, we think it's just about getting the food to, say, the pantry. But in this case, it wasn't.
Right.
And they found out through conversations with other people who had faced similar issues what they had done about it. And then next thing you know, you have knowledge transfer happening.
Yes.
And then it permeates. And like
awesome. It really is.
You're in the right job. I can tell. You love what you do.
Yeah, it really is. It's so exciting to see absolute strangers come together and share information. First, it's a silent room after I do my presentation. I'm like, oh my God, I talk too much. And then what it really is that the wheels are turning in their head. Okay, what can I do? What do I care about? How do I share resources with this person or that person in this meeting? And then they start talking, and then I can't kick them out of the room, you know, because they care. They might work in a factory, they might work at a pharmaceutical, they might work at a daycare center, but they care and they want to make an impact. And that's what happens. And year after year, this will be the 4th food day, and collaborative efforts in Lowell, in Worcester, and in Cambridge, and Somerville, and Boston. They keep getting bigger, and they're long-lasting and sustainable because people see the impact that they're making with this collaborative movement.
And it's great that this is one day that marks it, but then it continues for the year. And there's some, that's just the marker for continued activities. In fact, I heard recently, and I think it happened this year, there's the Massachusetts food waste ban.
Yes.
Do you know about that?
Yep,
or is that through? I don't know which department that's through.
DEP.
Okay.
Department of Environmental Protection. Yes. And that's starting with commercial enterprises, institutions that have one ton
a week or more of food waste.
Yes.
And they're now not being allowed to just dump that food.
Right.
Which is going to be really interesting for the food salvage and side of things, as well as what those big companies are going to do about reducing how much food they process and bring in and what they do with the waste.
Right.
It's really, really interesting. I'm very excited about how this is going to pan out. And it's still pretty new. I think it's just come into force recently.
Definitely at the beginning of the year, bam, it's in. So, larger institutions, I talked to our compost guy in our agency, and there was a question that came up from a constituent, and they said at this point in time, large institutions have their plan in place of how they're going to, manage their compost. But, it's interesting that right there, when, speaking about Food Day, we have to think of all areas of food and the whole food system. It's really, when I heard about the food ban, to me, the first thing that came into my mind was that now institutions are going to have to really think about, they have to be more conscious about how much food they're bringing in. If you have that much to waste, then you have to really get more disciplined and be more thoughtful. And
I think it's really great that it's going to be at that level. Like 1 ton a week of waste means that there's a huge amount, way more than that's coming in, and how much are they actually using, and there may start to, they're going to have to be some kind of accountability now, much stricter, because there's going to be, I believe if I have it correctly, there's like a tax, they have to pay a tax for having that waste. So they actually, there's a benefit for them to reduce that waste. Money talks. And
that's right.
Whatever it takes, but that's going to help at the large level for them to start having accountability from, what am I bringing in? Do we really need this? Do we have to throw it out? What can we do with reduce, reuse, recycle, in the food system as well?
Think about when recycling started. People just thought, it started in California and it's those crazy environmental people. But now it's just a way of life.
It's a way of life.
And just like smoking, now it's a way of life. If someone lit up a cigarette in a restaurant, people would flip out. So it's an educational piece. So
and it takes a while. It's going to take a while, I think, to kick in. But I think it's got to start somewhere, and I'm really glad that it's happening finally.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's really cool. I'm super excited. And I just wanted to also know a little bit of backstory of how you got interested in, like, what fires you up, and what is your background with food? Like, what is it?
Food. Well, I love to eat. Oh Lord, do I love to eat.
We have food days every day. We all eat every day.
That's right.
By the grace of the powers that are.
Right.
Lucky.
I grew up on a dairy farm.
Oh wow!
So,
all right.
So for us, for lunch, it would be about, Rose, go out in the garden, and I would pick corn and cucumbers and potatoes. All of our food was mostly fresh, except for the winter time.
Yeah. Is that around here? Did you grow up
in the South Coast? Near Plymouth. And we raise our own meat, chickens. I'd raise like 400 chickens every summer, 40 turkeys. We had cows. So our meat was raised and put in a freezer. So everything was really fresh.
Wow, that's very local.
And coming from a Portuguese family, and you're the first girl, you know how to cook. You were cooking, from a very young age.
Really?
So the food was always integral. I never thought about it. Then I came to the city, did a whole bunch of other things. And then when I left my trail for wanting to be a sports writer, I got involved in community organizing. So,
wow.
so
there
was definitely a little bit of DNA in me with about doing, making sure people have their voice, doing the right thing.
That's great.
So I was a community organizer, got involved in the governor's campaign, was in the governor's office, and then moved to agriculture. And then all of a sudden, it just opened up, and my interest was piqued because of the whole farm to table movement over the past 5 or 10 years. And then I found myself in the Department of Ag, and then, oh my God, I'm organizing around food. How weird is that? The cycle.
No coincidences. That's what I believe. There's no coincidences. Whatever you need to do, I think we get directed to our calling.
Yes.
And I really, the minute I met you, I was like, she's doing exactly what she needs to be doing. Like you're so passionate about what you do.
I love it.
And that energy is really infectious. Like it made me want to get involved. And I'm actually part of Food Day as well. I started volunteering a year ago with Food for Free, which is an organization right across the street. They do food rescue. I've had a guest on here. The director has come onto the show, and we talked, and we've had such a great relationship over this past year. And actually this month I'm working with them in an official capacity to and we're culminating their annual fundraiser is on Food Day.
Yay!
And that's our Food Day event, is the Party Under the Harvest Moon on October 24th. And it's really exciting because it's one of the biggest fundraisers for this organization. It's a little organization, a lot of volunteer support.
Big work though. Great impact.
Big work, small, just a few people doing like really, really great work. And that's what motivated me too, like being around people who care and who don't just care from their armchairs at home with their TV remote, but they care, they're on the ground, actually getting stuff done.
Yeah. I can't see you hanging out with people who just sit around and do nothing. I can't see that.
Take action. But it's really helpful to not do it alone. So it's been great to have something to plug into. Like you were saying, we have a lot of volunteers now whose contribution on Food Day is to volunteer, for example, with this event that we're doing. Or so many others, which are happening. They're like, if you're not able to do your own, join a group that's doing something already. The more the merrier.
Right. Support those that are already hosting events. I know there's events happening in Cambridge and in Somerville. Somerville does a great job of having a full weekend of Food Day events. So many in Boston. It's just all over the state, but it's so easy to find an event.
There's lots. In fact, let's switch to. I want to just show this, if I can see. Oh, where are we here? So this is actually the Food Day website, and I wonder if. Do we know where?
So you click on to the events right there.
Oh, events. Yeah. Hillarina. And I'm just...
and so scroll down a pinch.
Here we go. Does this work?
And then you...
Oh my goodness.
And you put in your zip code, or say Cambridge, Mass.
You say Cambridge.
Mass. Comma Mass.
Does that work? I wonder.
Let's see. And then you scroll down again, and it says 319 events. Well, that's 25-mile radius. So just in a 25-mile radius, there'll be 319 events.
Things,
and they're still being listed as we speak.
That's amazing. Look at these dots. That's like a bazillion dots. Well, that's 319 dots.
Yeah.
Right there. Lots
just
happening.
Just a paycheck over a bazillion.
Yeah. But it's really great that, this is the number of things that are happening. I wonder if I click on something here. Check Boston Eats Real. There's like
so many schools.
Quincy, a lot of schools. Here's a school that's doing something. Eat Right. And I love that there's such a focus on young participants getting involved in something like this.
Thank goodness.
Because there's us, and there's like we can do what we can do, but I really think it starts at the roots, and the more people. That's the future generation of leaders.
That's right. And it's so different from when we were in school, because we did have that home ec education. We did have more of that nutritional information in school. These kids, a lot of them don't have that.
Right.
And what a great way to plug them in, because if you look at diabetes and just so many issues that are really, I think, impacted because of the food that we take in or don't take in.
Yeah.
It's good to get them at this age.
Oh, that's great. I think, going forward, like looking forward 10 years or 15 years from now, those are going to be the people running future food days. And I think it would be really interesting to see how it evolves. I mean, this is the 4th year, and I really hope it keeps going.
Oh, it will. Because every day is food day.
Every day is food day. In fact, you have something I really want to show this off. It's so awesome. Rose's Every Day is Food Day, I think, started when... How old were you?
I think I was like 2 or 3.
All right, let's hold this up and show this.
Where do I... Right here?
Yeah. Look how cute that is.
Can you see what it says at the top? It says Azores.
Azores. I can show a close-up of it over here, actually.
Okay.
This is beautiful. So this is an apron. Look at that. Oh, there we go. Azores. Azores. And what is that? What is this?
These
Tell
are
us
islands.
The story of this beautiful, teeny little apron. It's so tiny.
Isn't it great? Well, when I was 2 or 3,
pretty.
that was my official uniform in the kitchen.
This would not fit. Look at my baby. This fit my baby.
Oh my God! I'm first generation Portuguese from Azores, San Miguel, the island.
Yeah.
And so this is from my family's island.
And
we don't own the island. We're from the island. So I would cook with my mother and my grandmother, and I would cook with them in the kitchen, and that was my apron.
Who made this?
I'm not sure. Somewhere on the island, handmade.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at the hand stitching.
Yeah, the stitching is beautiful. It's like a
very simple,
like a bear or
in little pockets.
Face, and the pockets are so cute.
Put my little spoons in there.
So this is tiny. Like you were tiny.
I was a little munchkin. They start you early in the kitchen.
I mean, I love this because it. Nobody in my family ever wears an apron to cook. We're always in the kitchen. I mean, you're just like, this is so cute.
I do that now.
Yeah. I think I once had an apron because it was cute, and I never wore it though. I just never got into the habit of it.
Yeah.
But that is so cute. I love it.
It's precious.
And I think that's a big part of it. Like what we were talking about, getting kids started early. I mean, that's pretty early in the game. And it never leaves you. I think that experience never leaves you. I grew up in a family where we were always in the kitchen. I mean, from a really young age, my sister and I were in the kitchen. The women were in the kitchen, but also some of the men were in the kitchen, either directing or supervising or cooking even. We had a cook who was part of the family who cooked, and we were, 13 people at one point in this household. So
13 chefs?
No, not chefs, but just people, mouths to feed.
On my way.
Too many cooks. No. But we'd help with the prepping and everything. Nothing was pre-made then.
Right.
So, if you're peeling green beans or stringing green beans for a meal, there's a huge pile of them, and we sit on the floor all in a circle, and we'd be chatting and string. It was a very social thing. And so I have really close memories of that experience. So when people I meet who hate to be in the kitchen or hate to cook, I'm like, no, hang on, let's change that dynamic. And start forming a good relation with food and with cooking, with the sense of community, with people we love, with people we want to nurture and nourish. I mean, I think it can be really, really enjoyable, because why do something with hate, like with dislike, when it can be really beautiful? Resistance, yeah. And it flows so much easier. It's like, all right, we gotta eat, so we'll do it. Let's do it together. And I think you got a great start really early.
Oh yeah,
that's fabulous. I'm so glad you have that. I hope you keep it.
I was thinking, what should I bring in? And the things I had were ceramic. I said, I can't break that. And I said,
that's perfect.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, what a great reminder of that it starts early, and it's a lifetime, not even a commitment, it's just it's a way of life, and we're always here to improve it. And I think Food Day is one of those things that's going to help people from our generation and newer generations to start thinking differently, start moving our thinking in better directions about food and what we eat. So
it's happening. It is happening. Yeah.
Well, if you want to see more about what's happening around Food Day, not just on the day October 24th itself, but ongoing, it's www.foodday.org.
Yes.
Is that right? And I will post this episode on my website, www.kitchen-intuition.com. Please check it out. Rose Arruda. Arruda. Did I say that right? Thank you so much for being on this show. It's been so great to meet you, and I'm really looking forward to being in touch and continuing this, because this has to keep going.
You got me. Oh yeah.
Thank you very much for being on the show. Bye bye. We'll see you next time.